and welcome back to Buffs and Nerfs, the podcast about video games and video game related material. I'm Sam Hall, and across the information superhighway is my fellow trucker on a CB, Andrew Lanza. Andrew, how are you?
Coming at you from the World Wide Web.
10-4, good buddy. So
surfing that web.
Yeah, like a spider, like a big spider. Oh god, we're terrible. All right, so anyways, welcome to Buffs and Nerfs again, because that nonsense probably made you forget what you're listening to. The video game podcast. But today we're going to do things a little different. We're talking about video game movies. Recently, 2 movies came out in the last couple of years that are based upon video game franchises that actually seem to be of a significantly better quality than what we're used to in the past. These are Detective Pikachu and Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie? Or is it just Sonic the Hedgehog, bracket, a movie? I don't know.
I watched it last night and I couldn't tell you.
I think it's just Sonic the Hedgehog, and like you just kind of say the movie so people know you're talking about the movie. I don't think it's like Sonic the Hedgehog the movie or Sonic the Hedgehog the movie. It just doesn't make any sense that way. Anyways, so what inspired this was I was in the middle of the best time to watch a movie. I was making dinner. And comments, Andrew? Anything to say about that?
I'm just silently shaking my head.
Oh, fair. And I was like, I need something that I can have on that if I turn my head away and, I'm making a salad or what have you, and I turn my head back, I'm not going to be missing vital information. And I was scrolling through it and I was just like, oh, Detective Pikachu. Yeah, Andrew said this was all right, I think. Did you recommend it? I can't remember. I feel we talked about it.
Big thumbs up on Detective Pikachu.
Oh, wow. Big thumbs up on Detective Pikachu. Okay, we're going to have some interesting things to talk about later. So I watched it, and you know what? Well, we'll save the review to the end, but that got me thinking, well, have there been any other movies like that? And then another movie that Andrew recommended to me, Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie.
I actually looked it up. It is just Sonic the Hedgehog.
It is just Sonic the Hedgehog. Okay, Sonic the Hedgehog, brackets, the movie, brackets.
There's no brackets. It's just Sonic the Hedgehog.
No, but those brackets were for the
Sonic
audience,
the
and
Hedgehog.
they know he wasn't talking about the video game.
Period.
Anytime I say Sonic the Hedgehog, I feel I have to qualify we're talking about the movie. Okay, you know what? Let's just make a rule for the rest of this podcast. If I say Sonic the Hedgehog, I'm referring to the movie. If I say that Sonic the Hedgehog, the video game, I'm talking about the video game. That makes sense?
You should really put in brackets what it is.
Okay, so Sonic the
All right,
Hedgehog.
this bit has gone on too long.
Yeah, like we're at 3 minutes, 40 seconds. This has just been one of the worst starts to our podcast, but you know what? I'm cool with it. So let's start with, first of all, Detective Pikachu.
Well, are we going to talk video game news?
Oh, do we have video game news? I can't think of anything. The Cyberpunk got updated, and it's actually pretty good now. And Outriders came out. That was all right.
I'm just going by your breakdown here that I luckily have up in front of me.
Oh gosh, I was like, I can't find any news. I just if you've got anything, please fire away. The Bungie state of the game doesn't count.
It's literally introduction, game news.
If any, Destiny state of the game does not count.
No, we got rumor mills, hot off the rumor presses. I don't know if that's a thing.
Extra.
As I punch my microphone, excuse me. We have the rumor that Hideo Kojima's next game with his Kojima Productions is going to be published by Xbox, by Microsoft. This is obviously huge news because, first of all,
he's got a Sony history, doesn't he?
Exactly. You have Kojima, which was, famously with Konami. He, did the Metal Gear series. He had the famous falling out with Konami where they essentially didn't fire him, but pretty much just let him, broke up his team and put him in as a separate building. And then he finally was just all right, fuck this noise.
Did he learn about that through Twitter? No, that's the voice actor who did Snake, right?
Yeah, that was David Hayter found out for Metal Gear, Phantom Pains and Ground Zeroes. He found out through Twitter that Kiefer Sutherland was now the voice of Snake, which is a bit of a kick in the dick. But you have now, as I said, so Kojima with Konami had a history of, kind of releasing his games through PlayStation. Then he would release them later on for other consoles, but they'd always pretty much be PlayStation exclusives.
Yeah.
You had things like Twin Snakes, which was the remake of Metal Gear Solid. You had that released strictly for the GameCube. But anyway, so he had a very close relationship with PlayStation. Death Stranding was a PlayStation exclusive for a while. You were going to have his game PT, which was, the Silent Hills prequel, I believe. That was going to be released on PlayStation. And anyway, so now you have these rumors floating around that Xbox is actively courting him to so that they can publish his new game, which is going to be super interesting. Like, I mean, that's hopefully going to mean that the PC release will be maybe like at least hot off the heels, if not released at the same time. But that's going to be interesting, especially, I mean, there's not much to go on. I think there was like what's his name? He was in front of like they were doing like a Microsoft Direct, and there was like some like some Kojima figures in the background and stuff like that, and nobody's saying, like, people have been asking about it and like nobody's saying no, so it's kind of like still very much up in the air.
Sorry, this is based off someone seeing Kojima figurines in the background?
That's not the only thing. That's not the only thing. There's like an article that reported on rumors, like there's inside rumors, but nothing like that's all. That's just adding credibility to it. People
right.
Are thinking,
So the video game news industry did Woodward Bernstein level research into this. Okay, cool.
Yeah, back and to the left. I don't know who Woodward and Bernstein is.
You don't know who Woodward and Bernstein are? God, I'm old.
Sorry, man.
Don't worry, me and everyone else born before 1982 just sighed as well. So, yeah, well, that's big news. I mean, I know Microsoft.
What is that a big demographic for us? The over 40s? Are we a hit with the over 40s?
Well, I pretend it is, but it's just me by myself. All right, this harrowing nighttime of the soul, it should move on. But I will say, I notice Xbox is, I'm guessing Microsoft is really trying this generation to get as many exclusives and in as many things as it can. Like, there was the Bethesda purchase last year. Earlier this year?
Earlier, so, it was very recent, yeah.
Yeah, so this actually, I mean, I'm not the biggest Hideo Kojima fan. I mean, I don't dislike his stuff. I'm like, yeah, he's all right, I guess. But if this is, well, I guess as a Hideo Kojima fan yourself, how do you feel about this? I mean, you're now a PC gamer, but what if you were on PlayStation? How would you feel about that?
I mean, if I was still on PlayStation, I'd be a little nervous about it. But honestly, just get the dude as much money as he can get. That's all I really care about.
Yeah, I don't know. I've played Ground Zeroes and
he needs money, and he needs also somebody editor. To be. Yes, he needs somebody to. I was gonna say to wrangle him, to be like, that's a little.
Yeah.
That's a little. Let's walk that back a little bit. He needs somebody.
This guy isn't like saying no, you can't do. It's like let's sleep on this idea to have like a burning whale follow this guy for no reason.
Yeah. But yeah, like you said though, definitely it seems like Microsoft is really trying to get, because like that's pretty much what won Sony last gen's race essentially was their absolute high quality of first party titles of like first party IPs. Like, you had things like Horizon Zero Dawn, you had God of War, you had Spider-Man, Last of Us. Like, that's another piece of news. Last of Us is getting a remake. Come on. That's just hilarious. Like,
I don't mind that game, but that does not need a fucking remake.
It was released on PS3. I get that, but then they did like an HD remake, or not remake, but like, an HD upgrade for PS4, and then like a couple of years, like whatever, like 7 years later, now they're making a remake, which is, I mean, I feel like there's going to be like the Netflix series. Wait, Netflix or HBO?
HBO, I think. I don't think it's Netflix.
HBO, yeah, HBO. So there's going to be the HBO series. So I feel like they're trying to cash in on that, yada, 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 make it available for current
100%,
system.
You're 100% right.
I get whatever. It's funny as an aside. But anyway, getting back to it, that's how essentially Sony and PlayStation won last gen, if you want to call a winner on last gen, on the PS4, Xbox last
I think
gen.
it's safe to say the PlayStation 4 won the last generation,
and that's how they did it. Like, let's be real, their fucking software, like their hardware was relatively the same. They were relatively even in horsepower.
Wasn't the PlayStation like more than a little bit better than the Xbox? Am I wrong about that?
I don't know. I think the PlayStation Pro had more teraflops, if you want to get technical. But I mean, come on, like they're fucking. I think also like the Xbox architecture was easier to design for. I don't know. So I think they both had their pros and cons. But what really kind of sold it was, I mean, it's not their gimmicks, it's not their VR, it's not their move control. It was Sony's caliber of first party games. So
I'd agree with that statement.
So yeah, so long-windedly, it seems like Xbox is now with this generation trying to catch up with, buying Bethesda, with courting Kojima. We'll see. Only time will tell. And all this does is breed innovation, and gamers win if you have these two. Hopefully. I mean, if console exclusives are kind of shitty, but.
Well, I think for me it's that, like, okay, so now it's Xbox that has the exclusive on all the really great games. I mean, I don't know.
You're right.
I think
take
the
that
litmus
back.
test will be Bethesda. See what happens with the next. I think it's called Starfield is their new IP, and then the next Fallout, the next Elder Scrolls. Eventually, we'll see sort of how the release happens there. If it is like, oh, you know what, Elder Scrolls 6 is an Xbox exclusive for a year, Xbox / PC. I know they're pretty much. I doubt they would do just an Xbox exclusive.
Yeah.
But if they shut Sony out, I mean, I don't know about that. I have a feeling they won't, though. I have a feeling part of the Bethesda purchase was, okay, you know what? Some of your titles and older titles and remakes might do that, but like big things like this, you're allowed to release on all platforms. That seems crazy that Bethesda would agree not to do that.
If I were to guess, I would say it would be timed exclusive, and at the bare minimum, and I think this is probably going to be a dual thing, timed exclusive along with exclusive content on Xbox. I feel like there's going to be like exclusive on Xbox and PC, whatever, for X amount of months, 6 months, and then also there's just like added quest lines or weapons or like mini bosses, horse armor. Remember what game was that where it's just like everybody lost their minds? That
was Oblivion. That was not Skyrim, but the one before Skyrim. Yeah. It was terrible. It's like, oh yeah, it looks like my horse is wearing elven armor. That's great. That was worth $2. I didn't pay for it. The download, I paid for the game.
To be clear, but yeah. Anyway, so I think that's pretty much. There was like a few other things, but that was the notable bits. We're already deep in here. I feel like
we're already like 13 minutes in, and we've just talked about
to move on.
Nonsense and Kojima, which is just more nonsense. And so it's time to move on. So the first of these two video game movies I want to speak about is Detective Pikachu. By the way, just to rewind for 1 second to our listeners, if you have any interest in seeing these movies, Detective Pikachu and Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie, bracket the movie, we're going to be talking spoilers. Nothing's off topic here. We're going to go right into the crazy twists and the, like the descent into hell that happens midway through Sonic. All going to be talked about. So if you want to have these movies saved, maybe pause this podcast, go watch those movies, then come back and pick up right here. And welcome back. So Detective Pikachu, I'll give you the brief rundown. I know you've just watched it. I watched it a week ago. So there's this kid. He doesn't have a Pokemon, and his dad is in the city. His mother is dead?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They
dead.
That, yeah.
And so he gets a message from his mom saying, hey, come, or from his dad saying, hey, come visit me. Or wait, does he get a message, or does he just do it by his...
He gets a call from the police department. Or no, he gets he has a bunch of missed calls from the police department. And then the police department is like, your dad is dead or missing? I think they say dead.
I think they say dead initially. Spoiler. Well, wait, I just said the whole spoiler thing. So no, he's not dead. So, but when he gets there, he gets to his dad's office, and he's confronted eventually by a Pikachu that talks that only he can hear for reasons. Did they ever explain that? I mean, I know it's his...
I don't think so. I don't think they actually specifically went into why. I think it's just because it's his dad as Pikachu. I think that's just kind of why.
And sorry, and just as a sidebar, because it seems like I know you watched this more recently than me, but it seems to me that everyone else, when they hear their Pokemon talk, just hear their Pokemon saying their name, like, Chadrazar, or whatever, like they don't hear like... I don't know what a Chadrazar sounds like, man. I mean...
Chadrazar isn't a thing.
Isn't it a thing? Isn't that the
Charizard? I went picture Chadrazard is just
on
like...
my face that I don't know what a fucking Pokemon is.
I picture a Chadrazard is like a Chad Pokemon, like, a Chad, like a fucking Chad, the slang for Chad.
Everybody, you may or may not once in a while hear my cat in the background. Oh, sorry, she's a little needy.
Shut her up!
So anyways, the Chadrazars, like, they're just saying their name to their person, right? It's not like the person would have a secret conversation. Like,
canonically, there are, like, Meowth can talk,
Mr.
Mewtwo
Mime can talk through actions.
Yeah, Mewtwo can talk telepathically. I believe also Lucario can talk telepathically. I can't remember if
Lucario in this?
No, Lucario was not in this, sadly. Lucario is I would put him in my top. I would put him as my third favorite Pokemon. But yeah, no Lucario. Mewtwo can talk telepathically. and Meowth in the anime can for sure just use its mouth and just be like,
So
I'm not
talk.
gonna do.
It
I'm
can
not.
just
I'm not gonna do a Meowth impression.
Meow, I'm meow. How's it going? Meow.
Wow, that's actually pretty good.
I think I heard it once and I'm like, oh yeah, this is that voice from cartoons. Anywho, so the kid goes on a thing investigating what happened to his dad with Detective Pokemon.
And we don't need to give a summary breakdown. Let's just jump into it.
Bill Nye is a jerk.
Yeah. He's good though. He's solid.
I guess the first question I'm gonna have to say, obviously, the fact that it doesn't have a Lucasard in it, your third favorite Pokemon, must make this movie just awful for you. But as a Pokemon fan, did you like this movie? Just like, let's take a step back from looking at it as a film, but just as a fan of the Pokemon series, Andrew Lanza, did you like this movie?
Yes. Let me put this into context.
Please do.
So I saw this movie at theaters. I loved it. I was like, holy shit, this movie didn't suck. Unbelievable. Had so much fun with it. So I saw it, and then I saw it again at theaters a couple weeks later. So
you saw it twice in the theaters?
Certainly did. So on this second viewing, I took my one friend who didn't know what a Pokemon was. Like, I was vaguely aware of like what a Charizard is, like had no idea what Pokemon was. And we went into it. I'm like, honestly, man, he's like, I don't know if I'm gonna get it, blah, blah. He's like, whatever, I'm just gonna come along for the ride. Like, we got dinner before, we're just hanging out, whatever. So we went in and he was like, he absolutely loved it. He's like, I love Pokemon. Oh, like afterwards he's like, that was so fun. He bought a fucking Switch game because he has a Switch. He bought a Pokemon Switch game. He bought Let's Go. I think later on, I don't think Let's Go Pikachu was out at the time, so I think he bought that when it came out. And now I wouldn't say he's a Pokemon fan, but like, you know, him and his girlfriend played Let's Go Pikachu together. He thinks they're cute. He loved the movie. He's watched the movie again on Netflix. So I'm not going to say he's converted, but I mean, that's how decent of a movie it was.
He's definitely like swishing the Kool-Aid around in his mouth.
Yeah. He's not mainlining it yet. But I mean, as a Pokemon fan, it was just great to see the franchise with that sort of treatment. Just seeing the franchise on, you know, the big screen in live action, and not done in a cheesy manner. Like, I mean, I feel like it's kind of weird to say, but there was like respect for the franchise. It wasn't just like a, hey, like let's stick Pokemon up on the screen and with a shitty story. Like, there's a good story. The acting was solid. There was good actors. The Pokemon were there, but they weren't like overtaking the screen. There was like, you know, those couple shots where you're in the city. Definitely, as I was watching it this time, I was like going through like frame by frame and like just checking out all the Pokemon. And yeah, so it was just a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun at theaters watching it.
Well, it's funny, actually. I'm gonna I don't know if disagree, but something you just said, like, it doesn't do, I don't know if fan service is the word I'm looking for, but like, it's not gratuitous. You said it didn't feel it was gratuitous. This isn't a direct quote, gratuitous in showing Pokemon, but I actually felt it kind of was. It felt like almost every situation was, oh, here's an excuse to show this one. The only Pokemon that really seemed to have an impact were Mewtwo, Detective Pikachu, Mr. Mime, and everything else felt like, oh.
What about those Bulbasaurs that like saved them? And then you had the,
yeah, I guess those Bulbasaurs.
You had the Apoms, the monkey guys that were like attacking him, that were all crazy.
But even they felt kind of like, basically, it wasn't as bad as it could have been for shoehorning in Pokemon, but I did feel it was a little like, for example, the fight where I think they had to go talk to some guy in like an underground Pokemon fighting ring.
That was the best part. And then it's like Gengar and Blastoise. That was so sick. I needed more of that.
Well, I was sitting there going, this is a lot of like action and stuff just to get, like, what does he reveal? He reveals like, oh, this guy lives over here or something like that. Like, it was some kind of minor piece of story information. I mean, I'm not saying it was a bad scene, but I'm just saying I felt that like it's kind of weird. I liked the Pokemon.
Pokemon are all about fighting, and you're complaining about the one scene where Pokemon are fighting.
I'm just feeling like it should have been. I think you could have had a more interesting story if it talked about the world with like these Pokemon exist. Which, first of all, sorry, I have a question for you about the world building of this specific movie versus the games. In the movie, it's like there's this one city where every human in Pokemon gets along great, and you just see them all apparently shopping all the day long on this city thoroughfares. The rest of the world, it was like what I understand Pokemon to be? Like, you go into the wild, you capture them, and then force them to fight each other? That's the norm in the rest of that world? Am I right?
Yeah, I mean,
that?
Pokemon is just glorified dogfighting, really.
Oh, geez.
But yeah, I mean, that's like the whole thing about the like every town is its own like little thing. It's got its own vibe. But yeah, definitely it's all about like.
Was that a town from one of the games?
No, that town is its own thing. Also,
And Bill Nye's whole thing was just his own thing as well.
Yeah.
What he did. Okay.
yeah, and also yeah, that town, like they specifically say like in that town like there's no trainers, there's no trainers, there's no fighting, like everybody's an equal. Like that's just a fucking thing for that town. But I don't know, man, like maybe I'm just biased as a Pokemon fan that I didn't think it was shoehorned in, but I wanted more Pokemon. Like I felt like there's fucking like how many thousand Pokemon now, and they showed like I don't know, maybe 30. I just felt like they could have used so much more. And I feel like some of that was budget, where it's like they couldn't like fully animate all these different Pokemon because they're not using these same old, models from the games and stuff. Like they're completely redone models that are like almost like in a way photorealistic. So I don't know. I wanted more. I didn't maybe wanted more variety, because even a lot of times when you were like looking at a city, it's like on the cityscape where there's like a bunch of people walking around, a bunch of Pokemon, it's like, oh, there's like 3 Sneasels, there's like 3 Doduos. It's like you can tell they like reused models, but just like not like fully different animations, and like probably tweak the models a little bit, but like the wireframe, etc.
Yeah, was
it's like,
there a second Pikachu anywhere in that I missed? I think it was just used for the character, but yeah, it was sort of like... I don't
think there was a second. I didn't see one. I totally could have missed one though.
Yeah.
But
Sorry,
I don't
continue your thought.
But yeah, I don't know if I necessarily agree with you, but again, that's probably just because I'm biased. But I really thought that they just, there were times, as I said, where there were just like a bunch on the screen, and you're just like, oh, there's Bravery, there's this guy, there's that way, whatever, and you're just like kind of like
Braveheart's a Pokemon?
Huh?
Did you say Braveheart?
Bravery.
Oh, Bravery.
Bravery. He's like a bird.
Not Bravery, the concept of, oh, I'm going to face challenges. And...
Well, I mean, it's a play on that. Okay. Keep up.
Yeah.
But it's just like, yeah, I don't know. I just felt like I wish there was more Pokemon. Like there was more moments in the thing. First of all, I wanted more fighting. There's really only like little clips of fights and like newscasts or whatever. And then there was like some part, like, some parts where like, Mewtwo's battling Pikachu and shit like that. But like I wanted like more of those, like either like stadium fights or like that underground fight. Like, I don't know. I'm simple. I want some action.
Like, okay, I know I just said I didn't. It's not that I didn't care for the scene. I was just like, oh, yeah, this is just here to have Pokemon fight because that's what they do in the games. But if I remember correctly, that is pretty much the only like one-on-one direct Pokemon fight in a traditional sort of almost Pokemon arena style. I think that's the only one in the game, right? The one with the...
Yeah, there's, as I said, there's like...
Charizard? What is that guy's name?
Blastoise and Gengar.
Of course.
Yeah, so there's what do you call it? There's like news clips like at the beginning when they're like where they're like showing like just like clips of like fights like in stadium type things, and then there's obviously like fights, like as I said, like Mewtwo and Pikachu, but I think that's like the only real like extended fight. I just wanted more of that. Give me like 2 more of those.
Okay, so as a Pokemon fan, it sounds like, if anything, you're slightly underserved in the fighting sense, and also you would say underserved in the just the number of Pokemon you were hoping to see animated. Which again, you actually may be right. It might be a budgetary thing. I don't know.
That's what I would guess. It's like a budgetary thing.
Yeah, I mean, the movie didn't look like it was a high budget movie. Like it definitely had a lot of VFX and stuff like that, but that's not necessarily the expense it used to be. It felt like sort of, I mean, I couldn't put a finger on the budget, but it definitely wasn't like even like a mid-tier Marvel's budget movie. It was probably pretty small, I'm guessing, considering.
Well, I'm sure they had some money though, because I mean,
money.
Pokemon is like it's the most profitable franchise in the world.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at that movie, almost everything is in sets or studio. There's no real location work except for maybe that stuff on the oh yeah, sorry, one side question before I get to a more important question, and quick answer on this one. Are there gigantic mountain-sized tortoises in this, or was that like something that was happening in the movie?
That's just something like I think they talk about it in the movie, where it's like there's like some crazy
there's like some weird business going on there, right?
Yeah, Torterra aren't usually that big unless now now in the fucking in Sword Shield there's like Gigamaxing and like Gigantamaxing, so I guess kind of now they can be like that. I don't know.
But could you ever like now throw out a ball and be like, and here Torterra Gigamax, I choose you. And then it's like, oh shit, I gotta get out of here. The mountain's fucking forming.
Well, now when you fight, like, there's like in like the new games, like they're literally like the size. They're like fucking like 10 stories tall.
Oh wow. Okay, you know what? Then yeah, those Torterra are probably accurate. But anyways, moving on from that. Sorry about that little sidebar about it. Now, we've discussed as a Pokemon fan, you thought the game was... it sounds like you would say overall the movie was good. Could have used a little bit more Pokemon, could have used a bit more fighting, but generally overall good. Now, as a movie fan, someone who both works in and enjoys movies, try to separate yourself from Pokemon. What did you think of the movie that way? I have my opinion, but I'd like you to go first.
Like, it was better than it had any right to be. I feel like you said, the budget you thought was like not, you know, it didn't have a huge budget. I'm gonna say, like, I don't know, for the most part the CG like pretty well held up. Like there was times when in that last fight between you know, like Mewtwo and stuff with like Bill Nye when he's like controlling Mewtwo's body, whatever. There's like times where like that looks a little bit shady, but like I don't know, you have moments where like, you know, like that car crash and stuff. I'm like, this all looks like pretty good. Like it's pretty passable. Like I remember it looked good on the big screen, like looked good on my TV when I was watching it again. So I don't know, like I thought overall, like obviously it's not the best movie ever, and it doesn't have like the craziest plot. It's kind of like, you know, a bit of a throwback noir movie, set in this kind of like almost like this kind of like cyberpunky like Pokemon world.
I did feel it had a very strong cyberpunk feel for some reason. Like when I was watching this, I was constantly reminded of cyberpunk. So
oh, for sure. Just like those like neon vibes and like some of like those locations and stuff.
I was totally wrong, by the way. I just looked up the budget. Holy shit!
It must have had a good budget, no?
Oh no, I was totally wrong. Like it had a huge budget. I've gone from, oh, you know, they did the best with what they could to like, where did the money go? It's their budget for that movie was $150 million.
Yeah, I that's honestly kind of that's kind of what I would put. I don't know, man. It looked good. All those CG
I was
Pokemon,
thinking like 80 at the most.
What? No, man. This is fucking Pokemon, man. This is a live action Pokemon movie that they're trying to spin off into a fucking franchise. Like they're not going to put.
I'm not saying the movie looks bad or anything like that.
What I'm saying, but even still, like this is the most profitable franchise of all time. This isn't Mario This isn't the Mario Brothers movie. This is the most profitable franchise of all time, trying to break into the movies. Like they're going to put a budget behind it.
Oh no, I understand they put a budget behind it. I do. I mean, according to Box Office Mojo, like I said, the budget is 150 million, and it definitely made its money. It looks like, I mean, I think worldwide 433. That's more than double. So turned a profit. Yeah. But I mean, I'm just sort of going like, where did the money go? Like, it didn't look like a $150 million film. It looked like,
oh man, I disagree. I thought it looked good. Like cinematography was like decent. The acting was good. It had big name actors. It had tons of CG. The CG looked good.
Ryan
the Pokemon
Reynolds,
looked good.
I guess, is big. Who
Bill
else
Nye, Ken Watanabe. The main character is like from fucking like he's been in other movies like what's that other
movie?
Can't
call that guy a big actor. I mean, no offense to him if he's a fan of the show, and please have us come on and
okay, he's not a big actor, but he's done things, and like I don't know, man, like again, all the CG, like all those characters, like modeling all those things, like it all looked good. Like the eye lines for the most part looked good. Like I don't know, I thought they did a good job. I don't know what you're what you're kind of.
I just love your comment. The eye lines in a budgetary discussion. That's not really.
No, I'm saying it just didn't look good.
I get what you're saying. Like you're saying it looks good, and I do.
Well, yeah,
it looks
from a
good.
budgetary
I just felt
thing,
it was so studio and like thing. Like I guess they must have spent it all on CGI.
It's also a kids movie, bro. Don't forget, it's a kids movie.
Yeah, well, if I can get my 2 cents about the film as a movie fan, and I can't even comment it on as a Pokemon fan, I thought it was okay. Like, if I had a kid, I would definitely take them to see it, especially if they were into Pokemon, because I was sitting there going like, I think somebody who likes Pokemon would be getting way more out of this, and that's not like
for sure
a hot take. That's like blatantly obvious. But I will say I found it just sort of a little kind of like, it felt it was going from moment to moment. Though I will say I did like the lead actor and the his love interest. I mean, did they
for sure? Yeah, she was great. They
were both really good. I thought these 2 actors in the lead were really great. I actually kind of wish they had brought along guy at the beginning who's all like, "Hey, get that Cubone, bro." Like, yeah, that guy kind of shows up and he's like, he
was
not
funny.
In the film.
Yeah, you thought he definitely kind of seemed like he was going to be in the movie, and then like we never see from him again.
You know, like 2/3 of the way through, they're being chased by, I don't know, more Chidrazars, and then they're like, we need a place to hide, and then he opens his door like, what are you guys doing here? You know, like I felt that character should come back, and I was just like, oh, he was just okay, cool. But I will say it did feel a bit kind of like, well, first of all, the moment Bill Nye said my son is the one, I'm like, nope, It's too early for that to be revealed. It's you. You're the bad guy. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know. Like,
I don't know. I feel like
overall,
I feel like that wasn't a huge twist that Bill Nye was the bad guy. Like I feel like they were trying to set him up way too much.
It was supposed to be a twist.
Yeah,
like I think when
definitely...
they first did, they were like, "Oh, this is gonna be a crazy twist." But then when they made it, they were like, "Oh, you know what? This twist doesn't really."
No, I don't think so. I think they were just trying to go for it, and like they like there's they what do you call it? They have they're definitely trying to like play up. Okay, does his son not remind you of what's his name? Milo. Ian, what's his name? The fucking
Ianopoulos.
Ianopoulos. Yeah, I wanted to say it. Yeah, I wanted to say.
No, you know who you remind me of is
his son with the hair and the glasses. No,
there was this actor. Like when I saw him, I thought it was this guy. Oh my god! Oh.
It's funny because I was gonna say Milo Yiannopoulos. I'm like, no, that's not his name. What is his last name?
Okay, I know that as podcasters, the last thing you want to be listening to is people looking shit up on the internet, because that's just what we mostly do most of our lives. But I have to look this up. And the actor I'm thinking of is him. I think Greg German or German, like Greg, last name German with an extra N at the end.
I don't know who that is.
Look it up. Listeners at home, you're probably near an internet. Look it up in that.
Anyway, so he looks like both those guys. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's fine. That was way too long of a search for just that.
What? I mean, how long did we talk about the fact that I got Chadrazar wrong?
Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like they were trying to set up like the son as the bad guy, and like I don't know. I feel like I don't think there was ever a point where they're like, this doesn't work. I think they went for it. Like I don't know if it was like the hugest twist in the world, but whatever. But I
feel like it's the kind of thing you throw in where if I was 6 or 8, I would have been like, yeah. But Bill Nye was nice, and I'm older. And again, I'm a middle-aged man watching a movie designed for kids. So my opinion definitely does not matter anymore. It used to sometime like
I don't know. That's it's pretty much what I said before. Maybe. It's pretty much what I said before. Yeah. Like it's way better than it has any right to be. Like they had the license.
I'll agree with that. I'll absolutely agree with that.
It had the license. It had like, you know what I mean? Like it's based on it's loosely based on a Detective Pikachu video game. So like, it's like they loosely had a story.
Did it have the same plot?
There's nothing about Pikachu being your dad. It's just more of like the characterization and stuff like that. So they had they had the IP, they had the script. They're like, okay, we're gonna do this Detective Pikachu, and like they could have just shit it out, and it could have just been like whatever. Like I still probably would have seen it at theaters because it's a live action Pokemon movie.
Would you have seen it twice?
No, if it was terrible, obviously not. Hello. I'm not a masochist, but yeah, it's like it had it was better than it had any right to be. Like they could have just like shit out some fucking whatever movie, but like it happened to be this like cool like neo-noir movie that had some like genuinely enjoyable moments, some funny jokes. It's cool seeing all those Pokemon in person. It had, as I said, the acting was solid. I didn't think there was anybody that didn't bring it, and I thought just overall it was really great. Just one thing I do have to mention. Sorry, you were doing it.
No, I have a moment that I just want to talk about before we move on to the next movie, but go ahead, do yours first.
One thing I really thought the movie was lacking, and I thought it would have been really good. And like, I remember we talked about this before, and I said it would have set it up for a second movie, and then I'm like, and then you said, you're like, is there going to be a second movie? Because like Detective Pikachu was like central to the movie, and there's like no more Detective Pikachu. Yeah, and it's like, I don't know, like yeah, but whatever. Anyway, so if there was going to be if they were going to like introduce this world or like make a Detective Pikachu 2 or whatever, one thing they needed to do is the main character needed to have like a Pokemon. And like for a lot of the movie, his like begrudgingly buddy Pokemon was Pikachu.
His dad.
It's exactly. And it's his dad. In the end of the movie, it turns out it's Ryan Reynolds in the Pikachu's body because of some, I don't know, Pokemon magic.
Was it Mewtwo blasted him or something?
Yeah, really exactly. Mewtwo, I don't know, Mewtwo did some some shock thing. I don't know. Anyway.
You were about to say some Sonic things?
So, probably Sonic Shock. I don't know, whatever. So I really wish that the main character, I can't remember what his name was now. I have it up right now. The main character, Tim Goodman, I wish that he had a Pokemon, and they had it perfectly at the beginning of the movie. You had him, and as we mentioned, his friend character, they're like stalking this Cubone, and they're trying to capture this Cubone. And in my opinion, this Cubone should have been like not a central character, but this Cubone should have popped up 2, maybe 3 times in the movie, where he's just showing up and just like causing some antics and just being annoying. He's just causing some malarkey and whatever. You kind of move on from it, and then at the end of the movie, when it's revealed that Ryan Reynolds is Pikachu, aka Tim Goodman's dad, it should have been like Cubone's there in the background. And he's like, oh, but like I still need a Pokemon. And then you like see Cubone. He's like, Cubone, like, do you want to be my buddy Pokemon? And then Cubone's like, Cubone. And then essentially.
That was a good Cubone, I think.
Honestly, it wasn't a terrible Cubone. And then you would have had
sorry, go ahead.
And then you would have had his buddy Pokemon as Cubone for like the next movie, and like they could have walked off into the sunset with like, I don't know, Cubone giving him like a bonk on the head or something like that, and that would have been just like, I don't think it was just missing. Like he needed that like little like that through line where like a little Cubone through line where it's like it started off with the movie where he's trying to catch him, and then like at the end of the movie it's like he didn't catch him, but there's like a mutual respect.
You know what? I agree with that. Because it actually would solve a problem I had with the film, which was it felt like Tim Goodman's name. That was his name, Tim Goodman? Tim? It felt like...
Because he's a good man. Get it?
Oh my God, that last name is making me angry somehow.
Wow, that's writing, bro. That's screenwriting.
Protagonist.
Keep up.
Right, yeah. It's saving the cat, but in name form. But I feel like Tim was like, it's... Okay, his dad's back. Great. But like, it kind of felt like his story was finished. I think that would have solved it. I just want to point out before we move on to the next movie, I'm not gonna say it was fucked up, but it was kind of like that's just ever so slightly messed up. The scene with Mr. Mime, where at the end they're like, "How are we gonna give this?" And he starts pretending to pour gasoline on Mr. Mime.
I love that. I thought it was hilarious.
Oh no, I loved it too. But I was like, "Oh, okay, good." And then at the end, it's like he accidentally drops a face behind the middle. I'm like, "What the fuck was this?"
And he's also in like an invisible dome or whatever. So he's just like fake burning alive in this fake invisible dome.
It was like a moment. It's like, oh, did you ever see Despicable Me?
Yeah, a long time ago though.
There's one scene, like this is a kid's movie through and through, and again, it's kind of like Pokemon. It's not for me, but I enjoy, fun, simple movies with a basic story. I am a sucker for a simple, these guys are the heroes, these are the bad, here's what happens. But there's a scene in Despicable Me where one of the kids gets trapped inside an Iron Maiden, and like you just start seeing blood coming out of it, and it turns out it was just a jukebox punctured. It was that kind of like, oh wow, this went into like a very slightly dark place for the briefest of moments. And speaking of dark places, I would like to report that there was an EMP that turned off all the lights in the Pacific Northwest. But it wasn't an EMP. It was caused by Sonic the Hedgehog, the next movie. My segues are getting better, but that one was like at best a 5, maybe a 6 if you're being generous.
I knew where you were going with it, and like I was just along for the ride.
And you know what? I really should have worked on that. And this bit that we have ongoing of how bad we are at segues, we should also work on that. So the other movie that I watched, now this one I watched more recently, so it'll be more fresh, the details in my head, is Sonic the Movie, a movie that came out 2 years ago with Ben Schwartz doing
No. Came out last year.
Wasn't it 2019? Am I wrong with
2020.
2020. Okay, so it came out a year and a half ago, which I'm going to round up to 2 years. And based upon I guess they still release Sonic games, do they?
Yeah, for sure.
There is still a Sonic franchise. Like it is still. I just don't have whatever system or any awareness of it. Not even like peripherally, like I do with.
Yeah, Pokemon. There was a huge game where they like we talked about in the remake episode where it's like it wasn't a demake where it was like it's called Sonic Mania and it looks like a refined version of like the Sega games. It's like how the Sega game, how you remember the Sega games looking.
Right,
but like
right. With
they're
new maps and whatnot.
Yeah, they're made with new maps, updated technology. So like it has that retro feel, but it's completely like new game. And they're a shit ton of fun. But anyway, go on.
So anyway, oh, by the way, this is a side plug. If you are interested more about remakes, our last episode was about that. So go back and check that after listening to this. It was a good episode, actually. It's one of our best. So the Sonic movie is about a guy named, and I just realized this, Tim and Pikachu, Tom and Sonic, Tam in the next one? I don't know. Who's a small... What?
Tim Tam. Have you ever had a Tim Tam?
No, I've never had a Tim Tam. Is that food? I feel like that's food.
It's like I believe they're Australian, and it's like a little cookie chocolate thing, and it's like you like take out the like it has like a hollow middle, and you can like turn it into a straw and like drink milk with them. Anyway, go on.
Oh, is it like those coffee like cinnamon roll things? Like
no.
Like,
it's like a biscuit.
Roll.
It's like a chocolate covered biscuit, but it's just like I don't know the way it works. You can like turn this biscuit into a straw.
Doesn't sound half bad.
They're really good. It has like a little thing of caramel in it, I believe. I don't know. I've had them very few times. As I said, they're Australian, so like anytime I do have one, it's like a treat, and they're really good.
As a sidebar, completely unrelated to everything, New Zealand makes this one chocolate that my friend introduced me to. It's so good. Anyway, Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie. Sonic has to hide from, I'm guessing, some enemy type in the original game and travels to Earth by rings. Now, first of all, I'm going to say I love the fact that the rings, which are from the game, were incorporated and they have a purpose in the story. They have a plot. They're not just, well, they are a bit of a MacGuffin, but they also are like a MacGuffin that actually has a purpose within the story and affects how the plot turns out. So Sonic comes to Earth. He hides out in the forest near a town called Green Hills, which I'm guessing is the name of a Sonic level. And he loves the Donut Lord, who is the sheriff, who is James Marsden. And yeah, they meet up, and then they get chased by Jim Carrey, who looks like he was having quite literally the time of his life.
Yeah, it's a great fucking movie.
I gotta say, I liked it way more than the Detective Pokemon movie. See, I can't remember its name anymore. So now the first question I have for you is, I played Sonic once in a while when I was younger, like on friends' Segas and stuff like that, but I definitely wasn't a Sonic fan. How about you? Were you like ever at one point into the Sonic franchise?
I never owned a Sega Genesis growing up. I was definitely a Super Nintendo kid.
Yeah.
But I played a shit ton of Sega Genesis at my friends' houses. Like, so many of my friends had Segas. I played so much Sonic growing up. Sonic 1, 2, and 3. I played so much of those games.
Like, you can remember levels and details and things like that. So, like, maybe you're not a super fan, like, with Pokemon, but enough to say you are a fan.
Yeah, and I also had, I remember I had the Genesis collection for, I believe, PS3. And that game, that game, I played a shit ton of the Sonic games. I remember playing a bunch of, like, the Shinobi 3 and stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, off topic. Yeah, I would say I'm a casual Sonic fan. Like, I definitely haven't played, haven't played any of the newer Sonic games other than Sonic Mania. I haven't played like Sonic CD or like Sonic. There's like the Dark Sonic, and there's all these different Sonic franchises that I have just not played.
But you definitely sound like you've played more than I have, because like I said, I played a bit of Sonic. I'm gonna guess it was Sonic 1, because I feel it was like right when it came out on a friend's Genesis. It was the Genesis first, right?
Yeah,
I feel like it was the big Genesis. He was the Mario for Genesis.
Yeah, he was the mascot for sure.
Yeah. So as a fan of the game, or games or franchise, how do you feel about the movie?
First of all, just like they incorporated like little things like the Sonic meme. Like you had what was the crazy guy's name? Crazy Bob. Or whatever.
Oh yeah, the older gentleman
who thought he could like see Sonic, and then he drew a picture of Sonic, and then that meme, like that's a meme. Like the picture that he drew is a reference to the Sonic meme, because originally, should I explain this meme or is this redundant?
I know what you're talking about, but explain it for people who don't.
All right, so on Jeopardy there was a answer, because it's not a question. There was an answer where somebody. The question was their response was who is Sanic, Sanic. I think it was like a final
question, not an answer. That's the whole thing with Jeopardy, isn't it?
What
you said, it's an answer, not a question, but isn't it a question, not an answer?
No, their question. They give you the answers and then you respond with a question.
Right. So the answer they gave was Sanic.
The question they gave was Sanic. Anyway, that's where, like, it was like a final Jeopardy, and they said, who is Sanic, and they wrote down who is Sanic, Sanic. Anyway, then there was like somehow a couple years later, there was a shitty drawing of Sonic made where he looks like that, and then everybody just like deemed that Sanic. So like it was like a mixture of like two memes, like calling that shitty drawing Sanic. So anyway, I
knew about the shitty drawing. I didn't know about the Jeopardy origin story. That's interesting.
Yeah. So he like showing off that is like, this is Sonic. They also used like a kind of like this like jazz swing version of the Sonic song, which I feel like I've heard before, like on YouTube or something. I feel like that's like a popular, like one of like the theme songs, like one of like the level like themes. It just seemed very self-aware. Yeah. Also, like it just like the sound effects, like everything just seems so authentic. And there was, I mean, do you have this? No, you don't. We should talk about, one thing you don't have on the breakdown is we should talk about the redesign, the Sonic redesign.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I mean, for those who are, unaware, they released a trailer with Sonic, like for the Sonic movie, and Sonic just looked so fucking weird.
He had like tiny human eyes, didn't he?
He had like tiny human eyes, exactly, and these like little weird teeth. Like he was very humanized. Like you could tell they were like oh, like we're gonna take like the Sonic you know and love, but like make him a little more contemporary. And it's like, what does contemporary mean? A fucking fever dream? Why does he look like that? So I don't know. I have a theory, and I have also read this some other places as well. But my theory was that he never looked like that, and they only made him look shitty for the trailer. And in that way, people are just like, oh my God, he looks shitty. I can't believe it. And they were going to like delay it anyway. So they manufacture this like outrage. And then all of a sudden it's like they come back and they like redesign him. And they're like, oh, we're actually going to redesign him due to this outrage, but we have to delay the movie, which they were going to do anyway. And he never looked like that. And they just made him look shitty for the trailer just to produce this outrage. And then you have... at the end of the day, they come back, they redesign him, he looks great, and everybody's like, yay, good guy Paramount, they listen to the fans. And then
I
like, yes.
100% agree with you on that. Like, I remember thinking when I saw the Sonic trailer, I'm like, I understand I heard about the outrage before I saw the trailer, so I saw the trailer to check it out. I remember doing that and being like, this looks so bad that there's no way somebody
I don't know. Exactly. I don't know what kind of focus, like this is a bit of a tinfoil hat. I don't know how much I actually believe it. It's a theory. As I said, I have seen other people make this theory before, like online. I've seen like a comic about it, whatever. But it's just like, how did this design get past like multiple stages of people thinking this looked good?
No, I agree. That was probably easy. Like, it was probably maybe even some animators like, hey, this is what it would look like if it was real. And they were like, hold on a sec, we throw that into these scenes rendered. We don't have to render the movies like a trailer's worth of movie, and then we get a delay because your theory, I 100% believe could happen. I'm not going to say that was the case out now, but
exactly, it is a bit tinfoily,
but if it turned out to be true, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, but and having said that though, just quickly, his quote redesign and like everything about Sonic, his
looks great.
Texture, the hair, his eyes, everything. He looks fucking money. He looks great. I love Sonic's design in this movie.
I will 100% agree with that. And not only its design, I actually like the movie itself. I found it was very... You see, again, I'm not a Sonic fan. I've played Sonic games, but I don't have any emotional connection to them. And it doesn't sound like you're deeply attached to Sonic either, but...
as I said, casual fan. It has the nostalgia factor for me. Like going over to my friend's house, like booting up the Sega Genesis, I almost said N64 for some reason. Booting up the Sega Genesis, playing some like Madden, playing some NHL, playing some Sonic, just like playing those games that I didn't have on the Super Nintendo. That's what I loved about that. So it has that nostalgia in my brain. But anyway, go on.
But were you not with Sonic at the same point where I'm like, hey Andrew, what are the la-la-lulale?
The Lalilulelo?
See, I didn't even know I was pronouncing it wrong.
The Patriots.
Yeah, goddamn. It's all conspiracy. Burn that whale! Drop it from the sky! So anyways, but what I found was great about this was a very accessible movie. Even if, let's say, you don't give a shit about video games, and you're probably listening to the wrong podcast, unless you're doing it out of support. Hi, Mom. It's very much...
Does your mom listen?
No, I don't think she does. I don't even know if she knows I do this.
I was going to say hello to Sam's mom, but...
Hello. I hope you're doing well. Hope you get vaccinated. But it was a very, like, accessible movie. It was kind of like I understood what was going on from the start. It didn't take a long... I do have a theory about the opening that I'm going to get to in a sec, but I want to just say, get my review in sort of overall. I liked the movie. It was fun. I thought Sonic was great. I thought almost every actor was great. One actor, I had not an issue with the actor, but an issue with the actor's role, which I'll also get to in a second. But I want to recycle back to the beginning. Does it feel now? You know, the intro.
Can I just add one thing? I feel like a lot of this movie was carried by Ben Schwartz. I loves me some Ben Schwartz so much. I loved him since like back in the day when this guy would be in like fucking internet videos on like Jake and Amir videos and stuff like that. He was so like everything I've seen him in, he's just been great. And he knocked it out of the park. I am in awe of people that can do voice acting. First of all, and who can do voice acting like that well, when you're like sitting there in a room reading a script, you know what I mean? Or like just like you have no, like you're pretty much not emoting against anybody. Anyway, I just wanted to say that the dude knocked it out of the park.
Oh, he did a great job, though. I'm gonna slightly disagree with who carries the movie. I actually weirdly
Marsden. I know you love Marsden.
This is Sonic's story, but I feel it's really more Tom's story. It's kind of strange. It's like because he's actually seems almost more the main character than Sonic, but that's an argument you can get to and stuff. And I think it works best as you don't say, oh, this is this person's movie and that one's in support. You go like, oh, it's their movie together. They're really the heart of the whole movie from start to finish.
It's a buddy movie.
Except for
it
the
is
James
a buddy
Carrey
movie.
parts, which are just great. I loved it when he's just being. They were like Jim Carrey.
Wait, did you call him James Carrey?
No, I call him Jim Carrey.
Oh.
Is his name James Carrey?
I don't know. I heard James Carrey, and for a second I'm like, who the hell is James Carrey?
No, I think I said Jim Carrey. Did I say James Carrey? Well,
I don't know.
Maybe
We'll
they have to call him that on set. He's like, Jim Carrey is my public person. James.
Don't call me my Christian name.
Exactly. But they definitely said to him, hey, James Carrey, do your thing. Don't go crazy, but go like a step below crazy.
Good.
He was great. I don't know anything about this Robotnik character. I'm like, I love this.
He doesn't have any character. Like, he barely has a character. Like, that's the thing. He's bad guy. Like, I mean, I'm sure in the newer games there's more character development. But
I gather he looks like how he looks on the Mushroom World at the end, like big
exactly.
long
with the shaved head and the big.
I was like, okay, this is I think mustache. Triggering a memory for me. But yeah, so Jim Carrey was great and everybody was great. Okay, well, I'll get to the actor thing, then I'll get to the introduction. Except for there was one thing in this movie, the one thing that bothered me. Why does Tom's girlfriend? I can't remember if they're married. Are they married?
I think because his sister-in-law keeps wanting to get a divorce.
Oh, that's right. Oh, actually, which brings up the character I was talking about. Why does his sister-in-law hate him?
I don't know. I thought the same thing because at first it's weird. After the fact that where he's like on the news as a terrorist, like yes, then I get you're like be wary of this guy. He's on the news as like setting off a bomb. That I can see, but even from the beginning, it's weird. I feel like she's projecting. I feel like she got like cheated on or something when she was younger, and now she's projecting it onto her sister's husband. You know
what? It's funny. I thought the same thing. I thought that must be her actor's secret sort of thing, but it just never gets explained. Like, and you really just need
she also has a daughter too, because she has a daughter and there's no husband around.
Exactly. So. That also led me to think, oh, she's had a bad relationship.
I did notice that too, where it was a bit. But it was very
like, I was sort of like. All you needed was one line of like, oh, you should divorce that guy, and then the girlfriend whose name completely escapes me going, listen, I know you had a Frank or Fred or Craig was a terrible husband and he left you guys, but Tom's not like that. Like, you just needed something to explain. But
I feel like there was enough to extrapolate. Like, there's a daughter, there's no husband, there's enough to extrapolate.
No, I felt it wasn't enough. I felt it was like this character is there because there's periods of this film where the antagonist kind of disappears for a bit. Like, there's this stretch where, like, from about the bar till they get to San Francisco, the Robotnik's just not there, right? And you're not even really aware of what he's up to. So they need to have someone to throw just an extra little conflict in some scenes. So they said, oh, the sister will be against Tom. And that's fine, but I felt it needed to be explained. But
that was fine.
Yeah, but I want to get your opinion on something else. You know the intro scene where he's running around and he's got a narration voiceover, and then Owl Lady throws him through the rings as, like, I think I was starting to say earlier, like some kind of enemy type from the video game is chasing them, right? Does that feel like that was longer at one point? I was sort of like, this feels like initially there wasn't a voiceover, and this was almost not necessarily
like the very first part when he's on his home world,
like before he.
Okay, the weird thing is those guys look like, I think we talked about this before, and they look like Knuckles. They look like Knuckles, which is he's an Encada or something like that. What is Knuckles?
What is an Encada? You're not talking like a cicada, right? Like the 17-year.
No, Knuckles is a character from Sonic 3. This is a fucking disambiguation.
Oh, is this who the Drifter's talking about all the time?
No. What?
You know, when he says, get ready to bang Knuckles? I'm sorry, that was a PG-13 joke. That was terrible.
That was...
and also Destiny Deep Cut, everyone listening is just like...
He's an... How do you say this?
Enchilada?
No, he's an Echidna. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's Echidna. Echidna. I think he's in an Echidna. Anyway, those characters looked like Knuckles, who is a character from Mario 3. Jeez Louise. Sonic 3. They look like Knuckles a lot. I don't know if that's going to be coming back in another movie, but I can't remember Knuckles' background. Maybe that if I know more of the lore of Sonic, that'll make sense. Maybe like Knuckles is the leader of the Echidnas. maybe he like broke away from them. Maybe they're some bad dudes and he broke away and then he joined Tails and Sonic. I don't know. Anyway, that's one thing that I did think about was they do look like Knuckles.
I didn't get that because I don't know who Knuckles is, but I will say it felt like that opening was longer at some point. Like they actually had dialogue and stuff happening, and then obviously the chase happens and she sends it away. But because it was so like, hi, I'm Sonic. This is the bird lady who attacks me. Oh no, I'm being chased. We go and I'm gone. You know, like it was so quick. I felt like maybe not like a full 40-minute prologue like in a Justice League or what have you, but you know, I felt there was something there was missing. But again, overall, this movie is fun. I remember watching it through and going, you know what? I don't really care about Sonic too much before this, and I don't not like emotionally attached to him now, but I would see the second movie. If they made a sequel to this, I would actually watch this. This was a decent movie. So I'm going to start, I guess, this part of the review first. As a movie fan, I would say this is worth watching. And maybe not worth, you know, shilling out $20 at the IMAX to go see. But if it's on Netflix and you're looking for something to entertain you, and especially if you have a kid or something like that who also wants to watch a movie with you, I would say this is a good movie to watch. It's fun. It's got, everybody knows what the movie is and they're playing their roles just at the right level. Yeah, it was great. Like, and obviously including Ben Schwartz, who does an excellent job as the voice, Jim Carrey as the villain, James Marsden, who you hate for some reason, as the main character. Yeah, I think this was overall a really good film, and I as a movie watcher, I would recommend watching this. Maybe don't go to your way to watch it, but if you have the opportunity and you want to, go for it. Your thoughts?
Yeah, honestly, I couldn't agree with you more. Overall, if I had to compare the two, I would probably say, as a film, Sonic was the better movie.
100%.
It's just, I remember watching it. I remember I watched it with some friends over quarantine. Like we watched it over Discord together. Like, you know, over like the deep part of quarantine about a year ago, and all of us were just like, "Holy fuck, that was good!" And like I had heard good things, and I really wanted to see it. And I didn't really have many people to see it. Did it come out before? It came out at theaters before fucking Corona hit and shit, right? I believe. Like right
That's
before?
a very good question. You know, let me look it up. Keep reviewing it. Saying more good stuff about it.
So I will say I did really like it. I thought, like I said, it was carried by Ben Schwartz, but honestly, like Jim Carrey was so good. Jim Carrey was so good. He just did it. He just took that role and made it his own. It's almost like you said, where they were just like, we don't really know what this character is. James, what are you bringing to this role? And he was like, I got this idea. And like that scene where he's just dancing and like analyzing the quill, and he's just dancing and like the red lights are going off. Like it's just so well shot, and like the lighting's so good, and his dancing so good. And it's not just dancing for no reason. Like he's dancing because he's like excited to analyze the quill. And then like and then the guy pops out of nowhere and he's like, I got you a goat's milk latte. And he's like, I wasn't sure if you would like it. He's like, why wouldn't I like it? Your lattes are delicious. Like that, or whatever he said. I know I'm paraphrasing, but
so like, why wouldn't I like it? I love the way you make a latte.
Yeah. Just like little moments like that. Just like
he was having fun. He was having so much fun with that role.
Yeah, and like the humor for the most part, like really hit true. Like there were some cheesy jokes, but like again, it's a kids movie. And like, okay, I know we had the talk before about Marsden, and I was like, and like this is before because I watched it last night. This is now Saturday. We're recording this. I watched it Friday night. I'm not going to say I did a 180 on Marsden, but I was like, all right. I think I was too hard on him. He was endearing. He was pretty good as Donut Lord. I'll give him that. I'm glad this is recording because this is the first time I'm going to say this. Sam, you were right about Marsden. That's it.
I'm sorry. I just had a heart attack. I'm so shocked. Oh. I'm having the vapors.
The vapors. You're just clutching your pearls.
Oh. Lord, I need a fan to sweat me, to sweat me? What the hell? To wave at me to deal with my sweat. You get the idea. Southern person collapsing. All right. I didn't know how to translate that without it, because my southern accent is, you heard a fragment of there. It's just terrible.
Why don't you have room service to Jangle? Have him send him some etouffee.
Some etouffee. Lord, it is hot today. Yeah, no, I think we agree 100%. Like, Sonic is a fun movie. James Marsden is a charming, What I think James Marsden... Okay, this is going to be... Because I just watched also The Stand. Not a video game movie, but I'll just talk about it briefly. It was okay. It wasn't amazing. It was better than it could have been, but I wouldn't say, rush out to your living room and watch it. But he's in that as well. And I think one of the talents that James Marsden has that is understated for actors, but is actually really good, especially in leading performances like this, is he knows how to get out of the way. He knows how to give a performance, but he's not going to be like, oh, you think you're going to take this scene, Sonic? Like, he's just willing to just go, hey, man, this is a Sonic scene. I'm just here to support. Like, I'm technically the first male lead, but
good point.
He's a very good, like, I think he's charming. I think he's also Canadian. Am I right about that?
That I don't know.
No, he's probably from Texas. I feel like he's from Texas. Anyways, so it sounds like Sonic was also a recommendation from you and a recommendation from me. I would say I'd recommend it definitely over Detective Pikachu, but I mean...
I would say if you don't know anything about Pokemon and you don't know anything about Sonic and you watch these two movies, I'd have to say you'd probably enjoy Sonic more. But I don't know, there is something to be said about the charm of multiple Pokemon like that could lend itself to people really liking it. As I said before, and I think you agree, I think Sonic was the better film, quote, overall. It just really, and like the CG was good too. Like it had nice cinematography, like that chase scene
where really well shot. The cinematographer, I was quite surprised at how well, like, the cinematographer is. I think he's a British American cinematographer. It was ASC something else, but yeah, it was
crisp. And like the chase scene was really great, where like the tank breaks down, and it's like kind of like that motorcycle, and motorcycle breaks down. It's like a unicycle, the unicycle breaks down, and it's like that little fucking like dragonfly thing.
I was looking at those and I'm like, I haven't played Sonic in years. Are these different enemy types that always look vaguely the same? We just didn't realize they were the same one breaking down.
I think those like floaty things are like reminiscent of like Sonic enemies.
But I feel like the little red thing with the helicopter blade at the top, I'm like, oh, this is something I've seen in a game.
Maybe. I couldn't place it, but you could be right.
Yeah. Well, I guess that wraps up our Buffs and Nerfs goes to the movies. But let's talk about one quick thing before we go, even though we are now passing the hour mark. And that is sort of like video game movies in the past. Like, I don't know about you, Andrew, but I am surprised that 2 video game movies that I watched in a week's time, 1 week, well, a little over a week, were actually decent. Like, I don't know about you, but like when I think of video game movies before these 2, I thought of like Dungeon Siege, A Knight's Tale, which is just
Uwe Boll movies.
Oh yes, Uwe, not Uwe. Sorry,
Uwu. Sorry,
it's just
Uwe Boll. Uwe Boll movies are terrible.
You're saying like emojis out loud now. But it's very like video game movies in the past, like and not just video games, but any game based movie. Like the Battleship movie is not good. The Dungeons and Dragons.
The Battleship movie is better than it should be, though.
True. You know what I will say? That movie introduced the concept of how you play Battleship the game into the movie, and when they did it, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm okay with this. This kind of makes sense in the context. It wasn't a great.
And when
film,
Liam Neeson says you sunk my battleship, you're like, oh, he said it. He said the thing. Yep, he said it. You're stoked.
Yep. But yeah. And have you sin the Dungeons and Dragons movie? I'm guessing you haven't.
No.
It's really bad. Like watchably bad, but it is a real bad film.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, it's, I guess, to make this summation quicker than it probably should be because we're running out of time, I feel that, hopefully in the future, if people decide to make media off of video games like they're doing with The Last of Us, which we mentioned earlier, is that they take a page from these movies where it's like, you can take the setting and you can take the idea, but still try to make them focused character stories. Like, Sonic wasn't about him racing around picking up rings constantly, even though he does do that a couple times. But it was more about the story between 2 people. Like, I think what those previous game movies tried to do is they tried to be like the game as much as possible, or the games. And games themselves, whether video or board, but I guess we should talk video specifically, I don't think they translate that well into movies. I feel like the experience you get from a video game doesn't work well as a movie. Your thoughts on this, Andrew? I mean, am I crazy or am I talking truth?
Okay, well, I'm gonna say, like, I'm gonna walk it back a bit. like there was almost like the stink of calling your movie a video game movie. Like ever since like the Super Mario Brothers movie, like absolute flop on all accounts. Ever since that movie, it's like if you were associated with a video game, be it, you know, you had like
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, well, you know, the first Mortal Kombat.
No, I was gonna say actually, the Mortal Kombat movies. I mean, it's not great.
The first one, the rest of them.
The first,
shit.
I haven't even seen. I've only seen the first one. Like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, that like, but like you had like the Street Fighter movie. You had like the Resident Evil movies were all like mediocre to not so good. You just had this kind of stigma, like the Doom movie. I don't remember if you remember the Doom movie with fucking The Rock.
I've completely forgot about it until you just mentioned it.
Yeah, there's a bunch, man. As I said, Uwe Boll has made how many, like 5 or 6 of them. None of them are good. I've seen bits of some of them. I couldn't sit through a whole one.
I've only seen The Knight's Tale all the way through. It's not good.
That's not Uwe Boll. Knight's Tale?
Isn't it?
No.
No. I think it's called Dungeon Siege: A Knight's Tale or something.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Knight's Tale.
No, I'm not. I know what you're talking about, like the really good one based upon the Chaucer story. No, not that.
The one with what's his face? Joker, Heath Ledger. I almost said Keith Ledger. Anyway, so
In the Name of the King. Sorry.
In the Name of the King with Jason Statham.
That A Knight's Tale I put in there was entirely my own creation. I apologize to everybody. Rest in peace, Heath.
So yes, rest in peace.
With DMX, I hope you two are having fun.
Damn, they probably are.
So
so I feel like, you know, you have these movies now. You have things like the Castlevania anime. You have things like the Witcher series on Netflix. You're starting to see care, respect given to these franchises, where it's not just, you know, even like you had the Warcraft movie come out a couple years ago. I heard it wasn't that great, but I hear if you're a Warcraft fan, like it does the some.
I heard it was justice. Okay.
Yeah,
I heard it was like I mean, I don't really care about Warcraft, so I wouldn't get a lot of the stuff. But I hear if you were, like you said, if you were a Warcraft fan, it wasn't the worst thing you'd ever seen.
So it's like you have these now. Finally, you have studios that are like, okay, first and foremost, like you said, there needs to be a story. It's not just like, oh, we have this license, fucking shoehorn as much, you know, references and, you know, nods and lip service to the fans as possible. It's like, no, let's get a good story. Let's get good characterization. Let's get good actors that actually care about the role, that are going to bring something to the role, that aren't just phoning it in. Then let's have this set against the backdrop of this world created in the game. You said something, you're like, I don't think video games lend themselves to movies. I'm going to disagree with you there. I think there are ones that really do lend themselves to movies or being adapted. Now,
such as?
I think the Metal Gear Solid. Well, I always say Metal Gear Solid would make an amazing movie. The first one, well, you know, the one for PlayStation, but the first Metal Gear Solid. I always think that one would be a good movie.
My experience with the series is so limited, I can't comment on that. But I would disagree based on what I've played.
You've played one game,
yeah.
So I think that as long as, like you said, there's like you need good characters, you need good storyline, and then you set that against the backdrop of the video game world. And then in that case, then you can, you know, have the Sonic memes, you can have little references here and there to, like, you know, only fans would get, but you have to make it accessible to everybody. If you're making a good movie, a good show, whatever, if you're making that first, if you're making a good product, it's going to do decently, I feel like.
I agree. No, I mean, I agree in the sense of that you have to focus on the story. Why I don't think video games quite lend themselves to is not so much the setting, which, as I've established, if you just take the setting and the core concept and then do a different story around it, it works. But in the sense of like trying to, which I think Uwe Boll, not in Dungeon Siege: Tale of the King, but I'm pretty sure in some of his movies he's just like, oh, let's just try to make like Postal, for example, where it's like we're just gonna do what Postal did, which is bunch of crass jokes in a row. And I don't know, like the video game experience is different from the movie experience. I mean, that's not a bold statement, I don't think so.
Well, of course, I mean, video games have the interactive element of it. So, right, so like instantly when you're taking out that interactive element, then you're gonna have a hard time. Also, video games, you can experience things at your own pace. Yep. You can experience things almost in your own way, while, like, you know, a movie is, you know, you're not participating in it, you're being subjected to it in a way.
Well, I think one of the reasons why the Sonic and the Pikachu movie worked to varying degrees is because video games are now becoming what comic book movies were about 10, 15 years ago when the first of the Marvel movies started coming out, in the sense of, like, it's gone from video games being this sort of outsider thing that a couple thing into like this mainstream thing that people have. And so what that means is the production companies and the studios, when they look at a franchise for video game, they go like, oh, here's $10 million, just do whatever, this is like a tax write-off. They go like, oh, you know what, there's a lot of people like Pokemon, there's a lot of people who know what Sonic is, let's put some money into it. And you could tell, like, the budget for Sonic was half of Pikachu, was 85 million, but you know, like, that's a lot of money to put towards something, an unproven film franchise. So I think right now what's happening is you might see more video game adaptations, and you are going to see them, because video games have reached that point that comic books were at, where they're sort of just something that's known as a baseline through the culture, no longer this sort of side offset, as it were. So, I don't know.
Also, nostalgia. Milk that nostalgia.
Well, that's what I mean by it. Yeah. It's like everyone's familiar with Pokemon to some degree, right?
Yeah.
So one final thing about that, and then we'll get on to our final reviews, because we are running long. The Mushroom World was a big fuck you to Nintendo, right?
Oh.
Right? That was a big, like, that place is boring.
I didn't get that. That makes sense. Wow. How did I not get that?
Yeah, I was like, I actually kind of admired them for that. I was like, that's funny. I was expecting when Jim Carrey was trapped there at the end to suddenly see, like, you know, like Mario pop up or something, or like
That'd
Toad.
be funny. Oh, I didn't even get that. Well, because now Sega and Nintendo are very friendly. Like a Nintendo, they have like the Nintendo and Sonic, or Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. They like they're very friendly now.
When I say fuck you, I don't mean like fuck you, Nintendo. I mean like you know, like a friendly rivalry kind of thing.
A freak you.
Yeah.
No, that's funny. I remember the one. When you go there, you won't be the only fun guy. I was like, oh my god, I loved it.
It like 2 or 3 times, like, oh, it's the worst. It's such a boring world. And I think he even says like you just jump. I might be reading more into it. He might have made another.
No, I think honestly, man, I just didn't. I don't know. I've seen the movie twice now, and it's so funny. I did not make that reference. And that
was the first thing. As soon as I said Mushroom Kingdom, I'm like, oh, you guys are talking, or Mushroom World. I'm like, oh, Mushroom World, Mushroom Kingdom. They're talking about Nintendo. Anyways. Okay, so we're running late, so we'll save the Steam reviews for next time. And I just want to say thank you to everyone listening. Andrew, thank you for being with me as we saved the aisle seats and thumbed up the popcorn in this movie episode. And yeah.
Oh, what? You've been to the theaters?
No, I have aisle seats in my house.
Oh.
I had them installed. They're really just like folding chairs, but I set them up so like 4 aside with an aisle down the middle. I even got like the little LED strips to go so that like at night I can turn off the lights and I can just see my feet. I'm like, oh, excuse me. I even spit gum on the floor sometimes.
You're just poor fountain cola.
Man,
on the
this
floor.
pandemic's done some weird things to me. I won't lie. And with that, we come to the end of another Buffs and Nerfs episode, a presentation of the fine folks at the Mind Refinery. And I would like to thank Andrew for joining me on this cinematic experience. Andrew, thank you.
It's been a hell of a lot of fun. It's been great. It's been a great topic. I can't wait to see what the future of video game movies has in store for us.
Well, maybe we'll review the Witcher series when it comes out, the 2nd season. I have my thoughts about it first. Anyways, well, if you like this episode, please listen to others and give us a like on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube. And we'll see you next time. Take care.